The Marvel Cinematic Universe is growing. Phase 4 has given fans numerous TV shows and movies, each with amazing new stories and heroes and villains. But as I watched these TV shows and movies, I noticed something strange with the villains. I noticed a pattern. This unusual pattern might change the course of the MCU forever and give us an idea of what is to come. After rewatching a couple shows and movies, I found out that almost every single Phase 4 title has had the same exact premise. They all share the same concept of keeping the main villain a secret until their final act. The mastermind trying to stop the hero is always kept hidden until the end. Don't believe me? Let's take a look at each Phase 4 title. Let's take a look at WandaVision first. WandaVision was a very weird show with weird things happening and weird concepts brought into the light by the MCU. But in it, when nothing made sense, we always felt a presence of a villainous character. And we didn't know who it was until the very end, which it was revealed to be Agatha all along. So this was the first Phase 4 title, so everyone was like, oh, okay, they're doing something new. I like it. I like how they kept the villain a secret. It really added to the story, built suspense and all that. But then the same thing happened in the very next series. Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, and in it, we had this villainous character named Power Broker, who was behind everything. It seemed like the Power Broker had access to everything, and we didn't know who he or she was. And in the final episode, it was revealed to be Sharon Carter. Again, the very same concept used in WandaVision, used again in the Falcon and Winter Soldier with the Power Broker. But then we thought maybe it'd be different for Black Widow, which it was a movie. It was the first MCU Phase 4 movie, Black Widow. And we found the same thing to happen again with Taskmaster, who was a masked villain against Black Widow, and we didn't know who was behind the mask until the very end, which revealed to be Dreykov's daughter. Seeing a pattern? Cause I am. Moving on to Loki, which Loki has the most twisted suspense villains in the bunch. It has Sylvie, who was meant to be Loki's counterpart, but also a villain in the first 2 episodes. We didn't know who was attacking the TVA, and it was revealed to be Sylvie. That was the first villain who was behind it all, and then we realized she wasn't a villain, but she was portrayed as a villain in the beginning. But then the focus shifted to the 3 timekeepers, who we didn't know who they were until they were revealed to be puppets. So then the final villain was He Who Remains, aka Kang, aka something, a variant of Kang, I guess. So Loki had 3 of the same premises happening at the same time, which has been used in all of them. Let's look at Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. At first, you may think that this movie does not follow the same pattern that I've laid out in the past 4 titles. But if you look at it more closely, there actually was a hidden villain that they revealed at the very last second. It was the Dweller in the Darkness, the giant evil soul-taking Dementor dragon that they just shoved into the last act. Like, we had this amazing story between the hero and his villainous father, and then a dragon came out of nowhere and then became a CGI fight with 2 dragons. But hey, I love the movie. I'm not complaining about the movie. I'm just here to talk about the patterns. And that was a pattern right there, because that villain was the mastermind behind it all. He was the one it was the one calling to the father, and it was like, help me, but it revealed to be a giant monster dragon eating soul demon. Now, after that came What If, and I guess What If technically is the first show that does not follow this pattern, because it's not supposed to be, because What If is an anthology series, meaning that each episode is different. So it's kind of hard to follow a pattern if it's very different. So that's the only thing that didn't follow a pattern. And then following that, we had Eternals, which also did not have a main villain that was hidden in the dark. This is also because whatever they were doing with Eternals was, not gonna lie, a little all over the place, and it was a bit convoluted. But it was still a pretty good movie, so if you haven't seen Eternals, go check it out. I think it's coming on Disney Plus soon also. And then we have Hawkeye, which Hawkeye is currently about to air its final episode in a couple of days. So I'm not too sure what's going on, but in the 5th episode, we did find out that it does have a main villain that has been hidden in the dark. Spoilers if you haven't seen Hawkeye, but it is Kingpin who was revealed to be behind it all in the 5th episode, which again follows what Marvel has been doing yet in Phase 4. The final Phase 4 title is Spider-Man No Way Home. I'm not going to be talking about the plot or anything in this video, maybe in a future video, but I am going to be going into how it connects with the pattern I've been seeing. So slight spoiler warning, you have been warned. Thank God it doesn't have a villain mastermind behind it all. Spider-Man No Way Home is a pure story about Peter and him growing up, and it didn't really need a villain behind it all. It did have a ton of villains, and if you haven't seen the movie, please go check it out because it is a masterpiece. So Spider-Man No Way Home does not follow the pattern of keeping the villain in the dark. That makes it the second MCU movie of Phase 4 that does not have the same pattern that I've seen. However, every single TV show besides What If has had the same premise. So why have most of Phase 4 villains been kept in the dark? Maybe it's to increase suspense. Or is it to give the hero an unknown threat? Or maybe it is to keep fans guessing and theorizing about who might be behind it all. This seems like the most likely reason, as it would create hype about the title. Also, this pattern is most evident in the TV shows that are released on a weekly schedule, so having the villains being a mystery would result in viewers being more interested in seeing who is revealed to be behind all of it. Regardless of why Marvel is doing this, one thing is clear. This pattern will definitely return in future Marvel Phase 4 titles like She-Hulk or Thor Love and Thunder. We can use this pattern to theorize what the plots and villains of future projects could be. It's still a little strange though how Marvel has pulled the same trick out of the hat for every single one of their TV shows except What If, and 3 out of the 4 of their movies. I hope they change the formula moving forward, because if not, the MCU could get really repetitive, thus predictable. However, I have full faith in Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige, and can't wait to see where everything goes. So, if you enjoyed and want to see more content, like this video and consider subscribing to my channel. Let me know what other patterns you've seen in Phase 4 so far. Thanks for watching. Bye.